Welcome to the morning sports briefing on New Zealand Sport Radio.
Hello, yes, and it is Wednesday, the 26th of August. And as you heard Cornflake there say, welcome to the morning sports briefing. Today in the news, we have updates on the Champions League qualifying. Yes, we might have had the final on Monday, but the qualifying has already started for next year. Rain can't spoil Anderson's day. What will happen with the North-South game, but at least we have a cup at last. Updates on who the All Blacks will play next year. The Warriors have named their team for the Knights. Updates from the NBA Finals as the Heat sweep in round one, and Formula One announce the final races of the season. So let's kick off with that football news. Don't forget, folks, that today is semi-final day in the A-League where Melbourne City will take on Western United, kicking off at 7 p.m. And Sydney FC will take on Perth Glory, kicking off at 10 past 10. Over in the Champions League, as I said, qualification for next year tournament has already started before the last tournament even finished. There are teams from 55 countries competing in the qualification games through September. And Slovan Bratislava, the Slovakian team, have to forfeit their first round qualification game against, here we go, Key Klaksvik, which I think is which is in the Faroe Islands, 3-0. It's been postponed twice, and now they've run out of time to play that game due to COVID cases amongst the Slovakian team's players. They're the second team to be knocked out of the Champions League via COVID. The Kosovo League winners, Drita, were knocked out when the authorities in Switzerland didn't allow the game against Northern Ireland Linfield to go ahead because they had two players testing positive for COVID. So, yes, two teams now have been knocked out of the Champions League due to COVID. I'm going to hand you over to Ashwin now, who's going to take us through our cricket update.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning to all our viewers and listeners on the interweb. And yes, as Paul said, rain can't spoil Anderson's day. Jimmy Anderson has become the first fast bowler to join the 600 Test wicket club. Anderson had Pakistan captain Azhar Ali caught by Joe Root in the slips to bring up the milestone. Anderson has become the second fastest to the landmark. And as mentioned before, the first fast bowler is joining Anil Kumble, Shane Warne, and Matthias Malhotra into the 600 wicket club. He achieved the milestone in 156 tests, bowling 33,717 deliveries. The match itself petered out into a draw, with play not getting underway until after 4 p.m. So England takes the series 1-0, but although the rain takes it 2-1. So the rain winning in the day. Craig McMillan is Bangladesh's new batting consultant. McMillan, whose last role was New Zealand's batting coach, has been appointed Bangladesh batting consultant for the upcoming tour of Sri Lanka. McMillan fills the role that was vacated by Neil McKenzie, who left due to family reasons around COVID time. West Indian men have been to England, and now the West Indian women's team will be touring England. They will head to England for a tour starting on the 21st of September. They will be playing 5 T20 matches. Moving into CPL news, Corey Anderson finally made it into the runs when he scored 31 off 19 balls to help the Barbados Tridents through to 151 for 7 off their 20 overs. But it wasn't enough, as St Kitts and Nevis Patriots, helped by 89 off 60 balls from Evan Lewis, eclipsed the total with 152 for 4, with 3 balls still remaining. Today's late game is the Guyana Amazon Warriors taking on the Jamaican Taliwars, and that will be starting in a couple of hours. And finally, it's looking good for Afghanistan's first test against Australia. Plans are looking good for Australia to host Afghanistan in Perth. At this stage, the match is being scheduled starting from December the 7th. Australia were scheduled to play Afghanistan after the T20 World Cup as part of the ICC Future Tours program. But the date has been shifted after the postponement of the T20 World Cup and the rescheduling of the IPL tournament. And Paul, that's our cricket news for today.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. And give another stat that's been posted up, or that you posted up actually, on our Swinging from the Hip Cricket Supporters Facebook group. So, folks, if you want to chat cricket, that's the place to be. Is that James Anderson also has the most Test 5-4s, or well, he's got 29 of those, along with Glenn McGrath, with still taking down Richard Hadley on 36.
Yeah. So he's got second most there, and my favourite player of all time, he's chasing him down, Richard Hadley, who got 35 fifers playing in his place. 36. Sorry, my bad. 36.
Deary me. Our stats man there over in the cricket is getting his facts wrong. But a man who doesn't get his facts wrong is Stephen Harris with our birthdays today.
Oh, very good, Paul. You're starting to nail those segues every time, every morning. Anyway, three people today who won't be swinging from the hip, or maybe they will be swinging from the hip, are our 3 birthday recipients. And today we celebrate our females. Firstly, an MBE for services to netball, a former New Zealand Sportswoman of the Year, and finally a former New Zealand Football International, and that's where we start our birthdays this morning. Pam Yates, born this day, the 26th of August 1988, is a former association football goalkeeper who represented New Zealand at international level. Yates made her football Ferns debut against the United States on the 3rd of October 2004 and finished her international career with 3 caps to her credit. I think that was 1988. Moving right along, Kate McElroy, born this day, the 26th of August 1981, is a New Zealand cyclist, triathlete, and former runner. She won the Wheel Mountain running title in 2005 and was later named New Zealand Sportswoman of the Year at the Halberg Awards. She is the national women's record holder for the 3,000 metres steeplechase and a time of 9:32:54 set in Houten, Belgium during 2006. McElroy converted to trek in a bid to compete at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, but sustained a leg injury and was unable to recover in time. And finally, an absolute netballing legend, Sandra Edge, MBE, born this day, the 26th of August 1962, in Tapuia Springs. Now, Tapuia Springs is about an hour north of Gisborne, is a New Zealand netball coach and former international netball player. Edge she has won and completed the full set of triple medals, competing for the Silver Ferns at the Netball World Championships, winning bronze medal in Birmingham in 1995, silver in Sydney 1991, and gold in Glasgow 1987. In 1990, Edge was awarded the New Zealand 1990 Commonwealth Medal. In the 1995 Queen's Birthday Honours, she was appointed a member of the Order of the British Empire for services to netball. She was inducted into the New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame in 2002. Edge later became a netball coach, and in 2016 was appointed the assistant coach for the Central Pulse in the ANZ Premiership competition. And pretty good if you are a Central Pulse at this very moment, obviously taking out this year's title. Back to you, Paul, for rugby.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And in the rugby, New Zealand Rugby postponed the North-South announcement from Tuesday to Wednesday. So yes, so that means that we're expecting an announcement this afternoon about that game. Previously, they had said that it would not be postponed past the 5th of September, and under current regulations, it does not look like it can be held in Auckland. So either it's going to have to move and be played with no crowds, or it will be cancelled altogether. Is waiting to find out now. And if it does get cancelled, it'll be a shame, because finally Eden Park has realised it had a treasure in its archives down there. They found a cup that had been missing for 88 years, which is the Loving Cup. Was initially given to the Invincibles over in when they toured. And when it came back to New Zealand, it was decided that it would be used to given to the winner of the North-South game. It's been missing for 88 years. They don't know how long it's been in Eden Park, and they weren't even sure what it was until recently. And you do wonder what other gems or what other treasures do they have down there that they're unaware of. So good that will see the light of day. It'll be a shame if it doesn't get given this this time. Apparently, the All Blacks opponents for the next July test window in 2021 have been leaked. It looks like the All Blacks will be facing Italy for 2 games and Fiji for 1. If you just oh dear, just sneezing there. Sorry, folks. Being a Lions year, obviously the England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales would not be available. And with the Lions touring to South Africa, I assume that France will be touring Australia next year in that in that mid-year window. Obviously, that is all COVID-19 dependent. Julian Savea will be playing for Wellington. He does live in Auckland now, and it had been rumoured that he could be joining North Harbour, and apparently Auckland were also interested in signing Julian, but he has decided to head back down to Wellington and play his Mitre 10 Cup down there. So good luck to him. Wellington looking to go one better than last year when they lost out to Tasman in the final. I'm going to hand you back to Stephen for the sport that just keeps on giving. It's our NRL update.
Yes, thanks again, Paul. In league news this morning, the Warriors team is named a former league great backs the NRL and a Brisbane Broncos coach Anthony Siebold on the move. But we start with the Warriors this morning. They have brought in Chanel Harris-Tavita into their starting lineup alongside Eliesa Katoa to face the Knights this weekend. Harris-Tavita returns to the halfback spot after sustaining a head knock in training last week. Katoa is back in the back row after serving a one-match ban for dangerous contact during the Warriors' round 14 clash with Penrith. This Saturday's round 16 clash with Newcastle sees the Warriors return to Tamworth, the city which served as their first port of call and adopted a hometown when arriving in Australia over 3 months ago. Former Warrior Mason Lenor will get a chance to take the field against his former club coming into the Knights starting side in place of ex-Warrior Blake Green, who suffered a knee injury last week. That full Warriors team starting from fullback Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, on the wing Adam Pompey, and also George Jennings. In the midfield we have got Hayes Petahiku. At halves, Cody Nikorima and Harris-Tavita. We go into the pack. We've got Jamone Taunua-Brown, Carl Lawton, Lachlan Burr, Eliesa Katoa, Tohu Harris and Jazz Tavanga make up the starting 13 in the Warriors. Moving along, Rugby League legend Peter Sterling has backed the NRL to crack down on clubs trying to poach contracted players on more money while they are still signed to another club. Recent reports suggest the NRL is looking at banning the practice of clubs offering more money to players to change allegiances mid-contract. Josh Adokar is the latest high-profile name, expected to be granted a release by the Melbourne Storm at the end of the season on compassionate grounds. However, he has also expressed his desire to make a lucrative switch to fullback at his new club. The sport leading NRL analyst Phil Gould to speculate that managers are behind players like Adokar and Valentine Holmes pushing for moves into positions like fullbacks that demand big money contracts. Gould has been critical of that trend, while Sterling added weight to the argument against it. I think it's a blight on our game, Sterling told Wide World of Sports. Sterlo's rap Josh Adokar has made it clear that in the last couple of weeks that he'd like to play fullback elsewhere, possibly at one stage was coming back to Sydney for family reasons. We're also learning that part of that may be motivated by earning a lot more money playing in that new position, and I would like to see the NRL. Interesting. We've seen it with other players leaving when they believe that their value is more than what they're getting at this present time. Sterling said there needs to be greater accountability from both players and clubs in that they stick to the contracts they sign and end the off-field negotiation games. Come in and make a change. So there you go. Usually a man who doesn't say a lot, but when he does, you take notice of what he has to say. Well, somebody who's probably had his last say is Anthony Siebold, who has coached the Brisbane Broncos for their very last time, confirming that he will leave the club after 2 tumultuous seasons. Siebold confirmed his departure in the Daily Telegraph yesterday afternoon, that he had taken care of the team for the last time. The Broncos had started negotiations with Siebold on a termination package late last week, with club chairman Carl Morris tasked with negotiating a financial settlement that was palatable to both Siebold and his manager. The Broncos are yet to make an official announcement on Siebold's future, but are preparing to do so, with the club aware that he has already confirmed to the media that he will depart. A press conference will be held today, or this morning, after Siebold has spoken to his players. Siebold arrived at Broncos HQ early on yesterday morning and left at 7:30 a.m. as the media waited for him. Pending 45-year-old had previously been in isolation in his Brisbane home after leaving the club's COVID bubble to attend an urgent family matter in Sydney following round of 13 loss to South Sydney. He had a COVID-19 test on Monday and returned a negative test. Siebold is in his second year of a 5-year deal and has endured a torrid 2 seasons at the club. And his announcement on his future will obviously come today. I think they'll also probably discuss what sort of severance package there will be, and I'm hearing some interesting numbers being bandied around at this stage, but I'm pretty sure the guys on the show tonight, The Standoff, Brad and Sanjay, will have a bit more to say on this particular issue. That's it for League News. Have a great day, everybody. Even though it is a little bit of a wet day, it's supposed to clear up in the afternoon, and hopefully this all gets cleared up as well. We'll be back with more League News tomorrow. Back to you, Paul. And
You're on mute, Paul.
yeah, we just
You're on mute, Paul.
Sorry.
It's not me this time.
Stephen, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? There's one person coming out saying, "Hey, please stick by your contracts," and then the next story is somebody having their contract cancelled. But there we go. All happening there in the NRL. Moving on then to curling. And the North Island Secondary School Championships, unfortunately, has had to be cancelled due to Auckland's COVID level 2 guideline. It can't take place under level 2 guidelines. So unfortunately, that that tournament has had to be cancelled. The New Zealand Secondary Schools National Championships in Naseby on the 26th and 28th of September for curling are still currently going ahead. Entries closed for that on the 4th of September, by the way, if you want to enter. Also, there are scholarship opportunities for New Zealand curlers. There's a postgraduate certificate and also athlete certificates available. So if you're interested if you're a curling person and interested in that, then get on over to the Curling New Zealand website. Also, moving on then to bowls, and New Zealand bowls have secured the hosting rights of the 2021 and 2022 World Singles Champion of Champions event. The 2021 edition will take place from the 20th to the 27th of November, and the 2022 one from the 19th to the 26th of November. So some big tournaments coming to New Zealand in bowls as well. Moving on then to the NBA, and yesterday saw the Bucks, Thunder, Heat, and Lakers all pick up wins. Importantly, that means the Thunder have now levelled their series to 2-2 against Houston, and so that one is proved to be a cracker of a series. It also meant that the Miami Heat beat the Indiana Pacers 4-0 and went through to the conference semi-finals there. So that's 3 out of the 4 teams are already through on the Eastern Conference side. That's Miami, Boston, and Toronto, whereas no one on the Western Conference side are through yet. It also means that we just have 2 games today. We have the Jazz versus the Nuggets starting at 10:30, and the Mavericks versus the Clippers starting at 1 o'clock. That's all New Zealand time. Sorry, 10:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. for those games. Moving on then to Formula One, and 4 Grand Prix in 3 countries: Turkey, Bahrain, and Abu Dhabi will bring the calendar to a close, and that will mean we'll have 17 races, which is the lowest since 2009 in the series. The Turkish Grand Prix will take place on the 15th of November, followed up by 2 races in Bahrain on the 29th of November and the 6th of December, before finishing up in Abu Dhabi on the 13th of December. This means that this is a historic season because it's the first time that the F1 has not gone to the Americas since to North America since 1950, and the first time it's not been in South America since 1970. It'll be the first time it's not been in Asia since '86, and the first time it's not had a race in Australia since 1984. So yes, a truly worldwide tour being restricted effectively to Europe and the Middle East this year, unfortunately. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all of the important sports news. Don't forget that you can, as Stephen mentioned earlier, join the standoff this evening for your weekly league fix. That's at 8 p.m. You can watch it on Facebook, our Facebook page, New Zealand Sports Radio. Also, don't forget to to check out our podcast. You can listen to us on the go, such as New Zealand Sports Radio on iTunes, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.